Twilight Sparkle Fixes Everything. A fic by Between Lines. Chapter 1 contains Twilight, all you need to know. It was not an average day in Ponyville, because Princess Twilight the Incredible Sparkle, as her first act upon waking up, had sentenced Average to death. With that afterthought taken care of before lesser ponies could even think, Twilight Unstoppable Sparkle poured herself a bowl of 64 Ford Mustangs and vodka with the side of gold-plated diamonds for appropriate roughage. A balanced diet is critical to maintaining full levels of awesome. Prepared for her day, and it was her day as she'd taken over all celestial duties from Celestia, Luna, and Cadence, even though she didn't have any. Twilight, you know it, Sparkle, kicked down her front door, forcing it to exit from existence, and stepped out into the street. Instantly, all ponies bowed for miles around by combined dint of their instinctive subservience to their true master, and the 8.5 Richter earthquake she sent out with every step. Being infinite in her magnanimity, she waved a hoof and rewarded her subjects with riches and in great supply, for she was Twilight, get used to it, Sparkle. It was then that her friend, or as close as any non-Sparkle being could come to such a role, Rainbow Dash, flew up to her. Normally, such an action would have been described in some lesser form of English, such as lowercase, and without a reference to Twilight, the true prime Sparkle. But Twilight, Flanks of Steel Sparkle, had retroactively removed all such inferior structures from existence. Hey, Twilight, said Rainbow, her now upgraded full caps pronunciation, for which she should be and was eternally grateful. Want to go teach me some new tricks? Twilight smiled, the brilliance of the gesture obliterating the eastern half of Equestria and blinding the sun. I already have. And Rainbow hovered in awe, and Twilight, the one, sparkles with endless wisdom before flying off to imitate to a lesser degree the tricks that only Twilight Best Pony Sparkle could ever perform. Watching her closest thing to a friend try to match her levels of awesome, Twilight Unparalleled Sparkle shed a single tear, creating a new inland sea. Even though she was so distantly removed from the other ponies and their lesser levels of grossly impressive performance, she could still fight it with her infinite compassion and sympathize with their inferior and ultimately meaningless plights, because Twilight Alpha and Omega Sparkle was an awesome friend. Having elevated other ponies as far from their lowly state as was possible for even a being of such unmatched glory as herself, Twilight Infinite Sparkle pulled out her checklist. Of course, simply without being noticed by a being of such stupendous sparkleness as Twilight, every single item on the list was already resolved upon creation. Still, she completed them again, because that's what normal ponies use checklists for, and it was important to remain humble. With Remain Humble checked off her list, Twilight Sporkle Sparkle created an improved version of the spork that actually worked. She dubbed it the Sporkle. She also gave it the ability to cure cancer, poverty, hunger, and lesser cutlery. The Sporkle then went and held its own press conference and launched its own product line and ad campaign. The ad went, Sporkle by Twilight, that one Sparkle. It was a runaway success and sold more than anything ever. Done tending to the social obligations she felt inclined to observe as a function of her unquestionable whims, Twilight the Mare Sparkle decided to briefly contemplate her own awesomeness. Of course, by having her awesomeness contemplated by a being as inherently awesome as herself, her awesome multiplied by a factor of infinity divided by 0. In recognition of this, she grew 4 more wings and promptly caught fire. Her own glorious incandescence more than enough for pony kind, she then punched out the sun, seeing as it was already blind and Luna didn't get enough credit. Of course, Twilight the Decider Sparkle was again omniscient and kind in her sweeping decisions and impregnated Celestia with a thought, so that she would have a new calling in life now that the sun was exploded. Of course, being folds of Twilight Sparkle, they were infinitely better than the sun anyway. Having performed more good than all other ponies in history combined, Twilight flew the Crystal Empire to herself. She then cast a duplication spell and made sweet, sweet love to herself in full view of Flash Sentry, thus stealing his waifu. She cast another 100 duplication spells so that she could do it again to 200 Flash Sentries. There were 200 because, of course, there were 2 of Twilight, like you even need to ask Sparkles, and Twilight, yeah you do Sparkle, would never create a duplicate that was anything short of perfect. And Flash Sentry wept, and the world rejoiced. Satisfied with her work for today, she lowered herself over the horizon and shoved her hoof into the moon, turning it into a copy of herself as well, so Equestria need never suffer the bane of an inferior celestial body. Realizing that there were 3 of her now, and only 2 heavenly bodies, Twilight Undefined Sparkle decided that the third would serve the purpose of Smoon, a new astronomical body so awesome only Twilight Smoon Sparkle could have conceived of it, and it was good. Stark silence filled the room, aside from the frothy gurgling of one particular lavender pony. Only 2 others dared stand close enough to watch over the twitching princess, one a dark gray mare, the other an unforgettable pink. Pinkie Pie, Octavia asked, her voice working slowly through the words, where exactly did you get the ingredients for your cake?
Oh, well, with the flour shortage and the ban on rum, I had a really hard time baking a rum cake. I knew Vinyl had lots of rum, though, so I sneaked over and took her favorite rum. She grinned broadly. I knew it was her favorite because she named it. Piot's kind of a weird name, though, but that was okay because she even had flour, too. But for some reason, she kept it in a tiny plastic bag with a razor. Pinky paused for a moment. Vinyl's a really strange pony. Octavia wasn't listening. She was too busy calling poison control.